Orchids. They're the flower that keeps on giving long after Valentine's Day is over.
Shari Petrucci from the Western Mass Master Gardener Association is joining us this morning with tips. Shari, you brought beautiful flowers with you.
I did. These are beautiful orchids. And these happen to be Phalaenopsis orchids, which are commonly known as moth orchids. They're the easiest to grow. The blooms last the longest. And I'm here today to show you that they're not so hard to take care of. Whenever I'm out in an area where there's flowers or orchids growing or being sold, I always hear, oh, I love those, but I'd kill it in a week, or I love those, I can't grow those. And I'm thinking, if I were a beginner gardener, orchid is the first thing I would want to learn how to grow.
Really?
Yeah, because the steps are laid out for you. There's 5 or 6 steps to take into consideration, and that would be what kind of orchid it is.
And if people are beginners, or maybe if they're giving them as a gift for Valentine's Day, we want to do that first one you mentioned. Phalaenopsis?
Phalaenopsis or
right.
Phalaenopsis.
Or moth orchid.
Moth orchids,
Okay.
and they're commonly everywhere, especially right now. They're the ones that are sold with tips on how to water them by using ice cubes.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Does that work?
Interesting.
It does work. The ice cube is slowly melting and moisturizing the roots. And as it melts, it's adding humidity around the plant. And the plants need to dry out very quickly, so the medium that they're growing in, that water will dry out, and but in the, with the slow release of moisture, the plant will get what it needs in a day, and after that it'll dry out and be dry for a couple weeks.
So Shari, what we're looking at
wow.
right now, so it's not regular potting soil this goes into, it's almost wood chip-esque.
Well, it depends on what kind of orchid. There are orchids that grow in the ground, terrestrial orchids.
Something like
And there are
that.
some that grow in the air, like clinging on to other things, like branches or wood. They're commonly packed in, the moth orchids, these are commonly packed in bark. And in containers that have a lot of holes in them, sometimes there's slits on the sides, because these need to dry out very quickly. They just don't want to be sitting in any water, but they like humidity. So what you do is, at home, these are fine. You can, I don't like to spray them because I think it hastens the blooms to fall off. But what I do, if I don't use an ice cube, is I'll just give it a quick dunk. The water goes up through here, and then let it rinse out, and then just put it back in. It'll dry out fairly quickly.
Now, Shari, people also need to consider light when they're thinking about purchasing an orchid.
These orchids in particular like a medium low light. So east window is perfect, or west window, but not right next to the window, because you don't want that hot night sun, especially in the summertime. Also, like I said, circulation, air circulation. You want to have a lot of holes so these dry out very quickly. Humidity, again, is from the ice cubes or whatever. But also, if you don't use ice cubes, you can put it on a tray with pebbles and a little water and let them sit on top. Okay. The water evaporates and creates humidity.
People also need to think of how they're going to pot the plant. I know a lot of times when you buy one in a set, it'll come with something.
Yeah, when it comes in something, that's going to give you a clue as to what kind of medium that orchid likes. And these moth orchids came with the bark, so I'm going to use bark. You need to repot them once a year. You just dump out all the mixture, get some fresh, and you put it in. When you take out your orchid, you're going to look for roots that need to be trimmed off. These, I just feel, the ones that feel soft and papery or mushy, I just trim them right off.
Because they're dead and
They're
shriveled
done.
up. Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty obvious which ones need to be trimmed.
Oh yeah, you can tell by looking at this. And you can see here that there's a little dark there. I'm going to cut it right off.
You make this look so easy, Shari.
easy,
now,
easy.
what about air circulation? How important is that?
That's fairly important, because not only do you need air to get up through this way so they dry out quickly, but air this way as well.
And I think the takeaway, Shari, which is neat, is that I always thought you buy an orchid, you let it run its course, and then it's over with.
Yeah,
not true. They grow.
Not true. I've heard that so many people say, oh, when it's done flowering, I just throw them away.
That's what I've done.
No, you don't do that.
Because you can either force them to bloom again,
You
or there's...
can. This is the bloom stem right here. And as you can see, there's little nodes. I don't know if you can zoom in on this. And once it's done, just before the last flower drops off, you can cut it right above a node going down. There's 1, 2, 3. I would start here at the third one going down, trim it, and see if you can get another flower stem growing. If not, then you trim them down to about 1 inch here and just let them dry out and shrivel up.
Thanks so much, Shari.
You're
What a
welcome.
great flower to give for Valentine's
Oh,
Day.
beautiful.
And there's going to be so much more information at mymassappeal.com.
Oh, you bet.